standing at 6'4". Voice comparable to who knows. Your podcast starts now.
Yee! What's up, everybody? It's what is today? Oh man, this quarantine's got me messed up right now. Looks like it's 5/6/2020 by the tell of my computer, so that means Wednesday, I'm assuming. Happy Wednesday, hump day. I mean, for all the essential people out there, they got the hump day working for them. For people like us, like me, you're just kind of sitting at home, not doing shit. I mean, granted, I'm in school doing some homework, staying pretty busy. Went through my closet, cleaned out my closet. That's what I was going to talk about right now. I actually went through and I was going through some basketball cards, trading cards I got. Pretty interesting stuff. I have a lot of cards, and I was looking them up to see like what the worth is and everything like that, because I have a lot of Jordan, Kobe, Shaq. Those are the main ones I have, really. I have some others. I really didn't go into detail. I just kind of browsed through all my cards, and I was like reminiscing of like growing up collecting these cards and seeing players that I hated back in the day. And then I'm like seeing players, and I'm like, oh man, I know that guy's whole backstory now. And I'm like, I hate that guy. I like Karl Malone, definitely. Not a fan of Karl Malone. Just his game, could leave that on the court, but we're not going to talk about him that much because Karl Malone kind of solidified himself in his own life the only way he wanted to. So yeah, take it how you want it. If you don't know about him, just type in Karl Malone and search him on the web. I'm sure you'll find up all the dirt he has. So it's pretty interesting. But yeah, the Shaq card. I was looking up some Shaq cards that I have here. So I have some rookie cards, Shaq rookie cards. There is one that is him, a picture of him, LSU rookie, you know. It's viewed to be $450, which is not bad. Now, the one I have, excuse me, where is it? It's a Fleer. Which one is it? God damn it. All right, yeah, it's a 1992 Fleer Tony's Pizza card I got, and it's him just kind of dunking. It looks like Larry Johnson in the background right there. But that's viewed to be $175. Not bad. I have no interest in selling any of these cards I have. For me, it's a collector's item, and I'm a collector. It's pretty awesome to have some of these cards to relive some of the moments. Like I have a card, I think it has Allen Iverson in it, but in the background it's like Kobe's guarding him. So like to me, that card is literally priceless because you have two legends. You know, growing up, those are the two guys that like I emulated my game off of. You know. Definitely moving forward in the card collecting. I see cards packs are expensive, man. Like I'm going through Amazon and like I was trying to buy some more packs, and like you get a pack of 20 cards and it's like $98. And the really good packs where you know you're gonna get guaranteed cards, man, you're dropping like $200 on a pack of cards. Definitely something I want to look into because I want to relive that. You know, definitely when I have children in the future, I would like to pass that down to them as I get older. And I think it's a fun thing. And then it reminded me of growing up. I had a lot of, you know, we collect, you know, you get toys as a kid. I remember like one toy in particular that I absolutely loved as a kid was my Stretch Armstrong. It was my Stretch Armstrong, and then I had these like WWF wrestler guys that like made noise, and you like fought them, and like you could like do moves to them and stuff like that. So I remember I had my Diamond Dallas Page like wrestling stuff dude that would like talk shit to me as I'm fighting him. So it would like egg me on. I'm like power bombing this guy, you know. And then you have the Stretch Armstrong where you can literally pull this guy like so far, you know, and he's just like this jacked dude, if I remember correctly. And it just made me like relive like my childhood and growing up and just everything that made me who I am today. And I found a picture of me, which I posted on my social media of me in high school playing basketball. I was probably, I'm 6'4". I weighed probably like 168 pounds wet, maybe. I was super skinny, like scarily skinny. and rocking my number 24 jersey, as a Santana Sultan, and just reliving those times. And I think that I was like reliving this, and I was talking to a buddy via phone conversation, which people don't have much anymore. Last night we were like kind of going through like just our steps to like where we got in life. And shout out to him, Dan Pajamula. He's a close friend of mine. We grew up, same high school, all that fun stuff. He was 2 grades above me, I believe. So I learned a lot from him, and I learned a lot from just the coaches in my life. I think this is how I'll sum it up. My growing up, how would I describe this? So I lived probably 45 minutes, let's say 40 minutes from where I went to school. Because I didn't want to, because we moved when I was going transition into 8th grade and 9th grade. So we moved 45 minutes away. Now, I didn't want to switch schools to a school I didn't know anyone. I wanted to go where all my friends went. So I convinced my mom, because it was the same high school my mom went to. So she agreed with me that I could go to the high school. But it's going to I'm going to have to wake up early every day and come down with her. Probably I'd have to wake up at like 4 a.m. every day. And then I would have to go, because she worked out like super early in the morning. So she had to drop me off every morning. So, and I didn't have any family nearby that could like take me every morning. That was convenient. So it was wake up at like 4 a.m. You go down the hill at like 5 a.m. and then she dropped me off at Jack in the Box, and I would just hang out at Jack in the Box for like 2 to 3 hours until school started. So I would just hang out there and eat something. She my mom was always great to me. She always gave me money to eat something, and I would just kind of either do schoolwork there, or I would just like hang out, and just like relax, and sooner or later my friends would kind of like notice that I was there super early, so they started coming pretty early there as well. So I had them to hang out with. Now, it was tough because I played sports. I played basketball, football. I did track. I tried to do volleyball one year. Volleyball wasn't my thing. So waking up that early, going to school, and then you have practice afterwards, because basketball in high school it's a full-time sport. So, waking up that early, I'm moving forward, I'm doing school, and then I have practice afterwards, and my mom picks me up, then we have another 45-minute drive home, depending on traffic, and I'm not getting home till like 7, 8 at night, so it's like we're always on the go. It was just like me and my mom at the time, so like all I really had was my CD player and like my headphones and music, and just the people, literally like my teammates and people I was around, like involved in sports. And I remember freshman year, I had 5 Fs and 1 A. I never like paid attention in class. I never really focused on just the things I needed to do as a student, and it was tough. And I think part of it was like to transition, like my freshman year of like going back and forth. I was like literally tired all the time. So I think part of my transition was that. And through the years, I tried out for basketball, and I wasn't aware, like, you're young, you're not aware of like, oh, you need grades to like play these sports. So like freshman year came, I tried out for the team, made the team. I couldn't play because my grades were so bad. And then I finally like realized, like, all right, like I need to stop hanging around like the people I was hanging around, which were certain friends. And that's when I changed. I walked up to, I remember I just walked into like a different group one day at school, like, the jock group. And I was like, hey, what's up, guys? Some of you are in my classes. So it wasn't awkward or anything. So I just kind of walked up and like hung out with them, and I just changed my groups like that day. And I was like, look, like I want to play sports. Like I know what I want to do. Like my mind was set on what I wanted to do. Now, if I would have stayed, looking back, if I would have stayed where I was, hanging around people that were into drugs, into doing things that they really shouldn't have been doing at the time, they weren't focused on like benefiting their lives. If I would have stayed in that group, I would have definitely grown up a mess and not, been where I want to be where I'm at now. So like going through that struggle of having conflict of like, all right, like I was friends with these friends for like 5 years, and then you realize that moving forward, you have to look down the line of life, and you're like, well, I want to play sports, I want good grades, so like I better not hang out with these people because these people aren't going to help me beneficially. And when that happened, I remember like there was so much backlash. Like I was like almost peer pressured into like, oh, why you don't hang out with them anymore? Oh, you're a cool guy. Or like, oh, you're a jock now, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah, like, well, I'm not into like, drugs or smoking weed back then, And it was just an interesting dynamic. And I think that made me who I was today. So all that derived from like just going through my old like photos and, basketball cards and everything. And it just made me realize who I am and who everyone can be. If you're in a shitty situation or whatever it is, you surround yourself with people that are going to help you through life. And my good friend Dan, we talk about, we have phone conversations. I think we talked like an hour and 42 minutes yesterday or something like that. We just talked about reliving, high school and just like how we came to be. And he's headed to success, and I am as well. We're both in school and whatnot. And moving forward, I think that's just the main goal we established. It was funny what I thought was interesting in the conversation was we're talking about like our careers, and I was like, yeah, like when I get into my career, like one of my goals, my like top goal at the time is to get a Tesla. And his remark back to me was like, yeah, like that's cool and all, because we're talking about someone that bought a Tesla recently that we knew. His remark back to me was, I want to buy a home. And then I realized that, yeah, like maybe a Tesla to me, it's cool on paper, but like he was right in the right mindset of like, oh yeah, I should want to buy a home, because I'm in the process of like setting up myself to get a home eventually. And when he said that, I was like, yeah, you know what? You made me realize, yeah, that's a more important like long-term goal instead of like some type of vehicle that would just look good or be flashy to others or whatever it may be. So like having a mindset like that where you can like feed off someone that makes you realize like, damn, like, dude, you're like legit right about just the concept of life right now. Like you're setting yourself up, you want a home. And I was like, I'm over here talking about a Tesla. So it made me realize, I just took a step back. I was like, damn. So then it just puts you down that rabbit hole of like, man, what am I doing? And so I just kind of like corrected myself, and I was just like, I need to take like some action just to better myself. And all that derived from me picking out basketball cards and reliving photos and stuff and posting photos. So I think it's good to do that sometimes. You look back and you learn so much. I am so grateful for people that have been in my life and that have, at the time, I probably, neglected them, like helping me. And I know, like, I took it as if they weren't helping me, but I know longevity, it was to help me. So, like, I'm grateful today for that. And it's pretty crazy how you think certain situations are different than they really are at the time. And you look back and you're like, damn, like, that's how it really was. And you're just kind of in a standstill of, like, who you are and where you're going. So I guess the moral of the story is I think realizing who you surround yourself with is very important culturally and just economically as we proceed as a human to evolve. It really does matter. It really does. If you're not being competitive with life, then you ain't doing shit. That segues me into the Michael Jordan documentary. That's everything that the man stands for. Still to this day, he's competitive about, his merchandise, everything. Watching episode 5 and 6. Episode 5, you start with Kobe. They show Kobe in the All-Star game, and Kobe's talking about like everything, which I already knew most of this stuff. I thought I was going to go more in depth in that dynamic, RIP Kobe, rest his soul. But they really kind of just did a quick touch up on it, which I'm sure they wanted to say some stuff because you already know Kobe's going to have a documentary. They filmed him for 2 years, the last 2 years of his career. So I'm sure they cut out a lot of stuff. Just to save for that documentary. So they kind of just kept it brief, real, recognize real type of situation. And then what do you know happens in that episode? They talk about the Air Jordan 1s. And I was like, I just watched a documentary on this. So I'm like watching it. I'm like, dude, I know this. I'm like, oh man, like when you see something before it happens and you're kind of just like, fuck, I know this. And it was kind of one of those films like, damn, dude, like I feel like grateful that I watched that documentary like the day before I watched the Jordan documentary. And I'm like, kind of like, whoa, that was kind of crazy how like that all added up. And that was just my curiosity about like, I saw it on there and I just like, you know what, I'm gonna watch it, and just put it on and I watched it. So, but looking back at the Jordan teams, man, like that 92 team, I still think, a lot of people think today that's still the best Bulls team. I would have to agree. That Bulls team was nasty. Jeez. But I still think, which three-peat, if they had to play each other, which three-peat team would win? I think the older three-peat team would win because Jordan's a little bit older, he's a little bit wiser, and he has a better shot. I think his shot's way better. So I think that he's in that tier of like his awareness and he just evolved more. That's the way I would see it. Athletically, he's a beast regardless. So Jordan documentary, episode 5 and 6, great. I had to rate it full beard of approval. I'll give it a mustache twirl as well. Definitely a good documentary. It's amazing. So I still stand to that. Now let's talk about a show I watched recently this past week. It's only 10 episodes. It is on FX, and it's about a rapper. It's called Dave. It's about Lil Dicky, Dave Bird. I think he's a creative genius. His music is very complex, I guess you can say. He has like stories throughout his songs, which I think they're incredible. I think his rhyming, his whole delivery and his flow and his beat, everything just flows together. The show, I started off and I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool show. It's just gonna have a whole bunch of rappers and then like he'll rap in it like eventually, like occasionally or whatever. But then it turns out like, I think by like the third episode, the show like showed me that it had a lot of heart to it. I was actually like caring about these people. And I was like, he's dealing with a kind of like conflictive relationship where there's like shit going on. And then he has like a personal battle with himself. And it goes on and it does it in a comedic way. And you feel for that. And I think even if you don't like that type of music, I think you can watch this show and enjoy it. Because it has some like humor to it. And it's got some dark jokes. And it has some funny ass shit throughout. And some of the women in there, like I'm very attracted to. Definitely the Asian girl in that show. Let's look her up right now. What's her name? Because you already know I have a weakness for Asians. That is definitely my Christine Ko. Or Koo. No, I think that's Ko. Let's go with Ko. Yeah, her name's Emma in the show. She's pretty hot. All right, sorry to ramble about that anyways. She's actually in a lot of stuff that I didn't even know. Hawaii 5-0. I'm going to have to start watching that. But yeah, good acting throughout. And, him being a rapper, I think he did a pretty good job at delivering the jokes through the show. And his verses that he has in the show were actually pretty hilarious. And it had some delivery. And there's some sick rappers in there. You got YG and some like other people in there. But yeah, it's only 10 episodes. I think it's like 23 minutes an episode. You can watch it on Hulu. Probably find it online. Highly recommend it. If you're into that genre of music, or even if you're just into like a lighthearted show with some comedic laughs, it's very funny. So I definitely give it a beard of approval and a mustache twirl. And that's going to do it for the podcast today. I don't know how long this is going to be, like how it always is. Actually, before I leave, let's talk about this KKK guy that was spotted in VONS. Now, I live literally in the city of this man. Literally, this VONS is less than like 2 miles from my house. And when the story broke and I saw the picture, I saw this meme and I was like, oh, this is just some freaking, some idiot. Once again, an idiot. And then it turns out he's in my town. It's some 65-year-old guy. Now, talking about this, granted, where do I even start? I'm not defending this guy at all. The way I see it is, the guy had a mask. He put it on. He thought it was acceptable. in 2020, it is not acceptable. Now, I can see backlash happening because you already know that moving forward, you see this guy, he's getting all this hate. He's getting all this hate. And now that I don't know if he's part of like some type of group or cultural society or whatever he may be in, you already know that people are going to have backlash. So they're going to see this online. This guy's getting so much hate and hate mail and probably death threats and all this type of shit. Then he's going to, you know, he's feeling defenseless. So obviously he's going to resort to a group or a individual to like back him up. So that could just cause conflict in the area. So that's why I'm worried about it. I think it's a horrible, tragic thing to be seen or happen in today's age. I thought we were past this. We need to learn. We definitely need to learn. I mean, if I give the guy a mask, I mean, he didn't have to go in there like that. I don't know the origin of it, but it happened in my town, my city, and I think we're going to be affected by it. It's, you know, I live, man, can't even say it anymore, but that's that. But yeah, I'll make the podcast on that because that's a little controversial to me, and I don't want to like everyone thinking that I'm on one side or, you know, whatever I'm doing, but I do not accept that behavior at all, and I think that we need to learn from stuff like that. So everyone have a great day. It's Wednesday. Happy hump day. Shout out to essential workers. Wash your damn hands as well and wash your ass. All right, have a good day.